We had two of the best pitchers in the country, the best freshmen. They got probably the two best freshman pitchers in the country going tonight and tomorrow. And we battled and we competed. We had some good at-bats. We did enough early on, to scratch a couple runs across. Plutko battled. A very emotional night for Adam. Three-time Pac-12 all-conference pitcher. To sit there and not get drafted was, to say the least, it was difficult. And, I don't know why they do it, but they do it at this time, and it makes this night even more special. You just don't know how he's going to respond. And I think you'd have to say, if you're a Bruin fan and a Bruin follower, that was one of the better performances in the history of UCLA baseball. And I don't want to over state that, because you got to realize about a guy that has won almost 30 games in his career at the Pac-12 level, and not to get drafted, I don't care who you are, that's difficult. So we're very proud of Adam. We had good at-bats. Our bullpen did their job. Certainly Bergie did, and it's one game. If we had lost, I would have said pretty much the same thing. It's one game. It's far from being over. You don't win 50 games and go away. And I believe that Fullerton, I've said it, and I'll still say it, I think they're the most complete team in the country, and nothing they did tonight gets me off that. So we have a long ways to go. This series is far from over. It's one game. We're up one game, but tomorrow when you tee it up, it's going to be as competitive as it was tonight. So I think you saw two very good teams with over 90 wins, and compete and play hard, and we were fortunate to come out on top.
John, can you talk about, you had a 3-1 lead, they scored 2 runs in the 8th. Can you talk about the character of your team to come back and win a game like this? Well,
it's a good question. We played close games all season. We can't beat anybody 9-1. So they're used to it. I think we've won over 14, 15 one-run games, which is right up there at tops in the country. Tonight's game was sort of our style of baseball. We chipped away. We got a run, a couple runs an inning. We got 2 runs in the 10th, and then we turned the ball over to Adam and James. I thought James threw the ball extremely well. Pedroza had a great at bat. He walked there as a freshman against a senior, and senior won. And we turned the ball over to Bergie, and they battled Berg hard. He threw 54 pitches. You really don't want your closer throwing 54 pitches on a Friday night. So, but he's resilient, and we're used to playing those types of games. And I think that showed tonight, experience-wise and Pac-12-wise, and certainly we're comfortable, as comfortable as you can be in a game like that.
John, what kind of makes Eric that guy for the 3rd spot in the lineup?
Well, he's a talented hitter who hasn't hit. Is basically the deal, and that's not a knock. He's one of the more talented hitters in our program for sure, and I think in the conference. And he's very, very capable, and I think you saw that tonight. But he's had some big hits. The last month, he's had some big hits, and you want him up there in a clutch situation, and I think you saw that tonight. He had a couple 2-strike hits, and so we have a lot of faith and trust in Eric. On paper, he hasn't had a great year, but he's certainly one of our better players, and has a very bright future.
Eric, could you describe the approach on the game-winning hit? Eric?
Basically, he threw me 2 high fastballs, and I knew he was going to come with a curveball, and he wasn't really commanding it all game, but he left it up and stayed short with it and hit into right field.
What's been the difference for you, Eric? Down the stretch, it feels like you've had a pretty good second half after maybe scuffling more early. Was there just a kind of approach adjustment? It looks like you used the whole field pretty well today.
Yeah, Coach Peters really, I've been working with him and everything, and a lot of confidence he put into me and everything with the coaching staff and my players, or the team and everything. And just really with the teammates behind me, I get a lot of confidence, and I've been really seeing the ball well. And yeah.
David, can you talk about your 8th inning and how you kind of bounce back in the next two?
They're great hitters. They battled. Lopez drew a walk, and then they bunted. And I made some good pitches to the next couple guys. They just put it in play. Lorenzen kind of put it right where we couldn't make a play. He did a great job. And then I just knew from there I couldn't let another thing like that happen. So I just tried to make pitches, keep doing what I was doing, and it worked.
Take us through that at-bat with J.D. Davis in the 10th inning. That was probably one of the more epic at-bats in a long time. And then you throw that off-speed pitch 3-2. Take us through that entire at-bat and what you were thinking.
With a runner on first base, we're looking to get a ground ball, trying to get a double play out of it. And I was even trying to kind of use more of the middle of the plate, trying to get him to get the ball to Pat, turn over the 6-4-3. And made some good pitches, and he fought. He didn't let anything get by him, and then I knew 3-2 he was probably going to be looking for another fastball, but I have confidence in all my pitches, any count. So 3-2, I just thought that was the right pitch to go with there, and got him to freeze on it.
Gutsy pitch. Good pitch.
Thank you.
Coach, with Berg throwing so many pitches tonight, is he going to be available for you guys tomorrow?
Yeah, he's been back to back, 3 nights in a row. 54 is a lot, though. Really that's one of the reasons why he didn't start the 8th. We wanted to get through that 8th without using him, and unfortunately, we, on the road, up 2 with a runner on first, you just can't leave an All-American in the bullpen, and that's how I felt. Nothing against James. I wanted to keep James in the ball game. James has electric stuff, but we had to, felt like we needed to go to Berg, and so he will be available. We certainly don't want to use him to what he did tonight, but he'll bounce back.
Is there any doubt in your mind that you were going to keep him in as long as he could go?
No, I don't think so. If that thing would have gone in 11th or 12th, I think I would have, looked at Weiss or, somebody else. It's the first game. It's not the clincher. You want to win a game like that, that's for sure. But at the same time, you don't want to get into that 70 or 80 pitches with your closer on a Friday night at Fullerton. I don't think that's the recipe. So, fortunately we got 2. And, he made some big pitches in the bottom of the inning.
John, what's it been like trying to create an offensive identity for this team all year? You have to kind of put a new lineup together.
It's been difficult. I think everybody that plays us, Mark, would say that team's a little better than their numbers show. I think that's we're that type of team. We do have some quality at bats. We can get on first. Our on base percentage is pretty good for the batting average. We'll fight you, and that's kind of the identity we're trying to create. It's just you just can't, we can't sit around for that 3-run homer. It's just not coming around. These guys, they can do a little bit of both. They can get on base and they also can hit the 3-run homer. So that's what makes them so dangerous. But I think this team is forming an identity, and they've had that for about a month now, and it's come together, and I think they're embracing it.
Eric, you had some big home runs in high school. You've been an all-star game. You had a couple of big ones in the county all-star game. Now in college, you got a different bat, you got different pitchers, you got a different Marine layer at Jackie Robinson. All those things, how do you adjust to those, and how do you keep from getting frustrated?
Basically Pac-12. The pitching is a lot better than high school, of course, and just really had to change my approach. I'm not that player anymore, and I know that. But hitting 3, I know I'm not that powerful hitter and everything, but I try to get team in a winning situation and everything as much as I can, and hopefully we come out with a W.
Hey, Coach.
Going back to Adam a little bit, he doesn't show a lot of emotion. Would you have known if anything was wrong or if today bothered him at all coming into the game? Would you have any way of even knowing that?
Me? Yeah. I mean, I've been around him for for a long time, and it was very emotional for me, emotional for him, for our team. He's been our leader for the last 2 years. He pitched behind Trevor and Garrett, of course, this Sunday. He's had one of the best careers in the history of the school. And, whoever drafts him is going to get a hell of a competitor and a very good pitcher. So I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be Adam, and it was. But I can't say I wasn't concerned because, it was, you go 10 rounds and not drafted and be a USA pitcher and to have the most postseason wins in school history and really perform. You talk about performing. I don't think there's a whole lot of better performers in the country. And so it was, you gotta feel for him. And but I knew that he was going to be a bulldog, and it was an impressive outing. And like I said, one that will be remembered for a long time.
Coach, how tough is it to deal with the draft day, whether it be either positive or negative, keeping guys, their energy level consistent with where they're normally at?
It's difficult for everybody. I just, it's like having the NBA draft on the night of the Final Four. It's like having the NFL draft on January 1st. Think about that. It's very difficult. It's emotions, it's highs. Some kids come out excited. They got drafted good and everything's good, and then a guy next to him is disappointed and he's looking at his cell phone and looking at the draft, and this year's made it even more difficult because it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right smack in the middle of the super regionals. A lot of times it's in between, and that's difficult. But this is today was crazy. We had recruits. We're talking to them. We're talking to our current players. Guys are, like I said, are excited. Guys are disappointed. Then they're going to try to go out and compete against Fullerton. But there's some emotion there, and these guys are young guys. And we're no different than Fullerton. We're no different than the 16 teams that are playing. Everybody's in the same boat. I just think that we need to come up with a better timing mechanism that these guys. I understand you have to have the draft at this time of the year before the summer, teams hit, and I get all that. But to do it right in the middle of the super regional, I think is pretty unfair for the players that are playing. And I don't know who would have an argument with me. I'd like to hear their perspective, because if you're a coach and you have 35 guys and 27 with you, then they'll know what I'm talking about.
David, what's the emotion like in the locker room right now with all this going on in the background?
Obviously, it's tough for the guys who didn't go today and thought they were going to go today. And then obviously the guys who went today were pretty excited. They're taking that next step in their career possibly. But guys were able to dial it in and get focused on the game. And especially Adam, extremely proud of him. He was an absolute bulldog today when he dealt with a lot of adversity. And you can't ask anything more of a guy. But as a team, everyone was excited for the guys who went. And then today, going out there and getting a W like we did today, hard fought, losing a lead late in the game, something that we're really not used to. And then be able to come back and answer in the 10th, and then going out and getting the win in the 10th. So.
John, do you think Adam went out with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, or was it more about shutting out disappointment from seeing that?
You'd have to ask him. I think there's a little bit of a chip. I felt it in the bullpen. He competes as well as anybody we've ever had. So it's pretty consistent with what we see. But there's got to be a chip. It's got to be somewhere in the back of his mind, because You know, to be let down like that and to have to go and pitch in one of the biggest games of your career, it's difficult, you know. That's why, you know, the freshmen and sophomores, it's kind of like being on vacation. But being a junior is difficult in this game, and I think you saw really at the highest moment today that being the case.